Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us for our weekly live podcast or broadcast, Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we take your questions live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. So post your questions. Please post them once. We'll get to it. Don't repeat it. Kind of gets confusing in the mix. Or take your immigration questions. And we give away free video consultations. So you can write consultation for liking and subscribing wherever you watch this. And we'll randomly pick a person every 10 minutes for the 30-minute show. So 3 free giveaway sessions. And that way, we get a chance to talk privately because here's for general education stuff only. I can't give individual legal guidance here because I can't see you. I can't talk with you. I can't ask additional questions. So that's what we're here for, to just take your general questions and give you some idea what's going on and some updates on what's going on with the immigration situation. One more thing, if you're interested in the marriage green card case, the marriage visa, the place to go is marriageimmigrationlaw.com, www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. We have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's over 40 pages of excellent guidance on how the system works and what routes to take and all that kind of stuff. So you have a strategy in mind before you take any steps forward. Before you even talk with an immigration attorney, you have an idea what's going on with the system because of how complex it is and the different routes it takes, all this kind of stuff. That way, if you want to hire an attorney, you know what questions to ask. You don't talk about the basics. You talk about next level kind of questions. You do your own homework, and then you do, you get the best kind of service and representation you can get, and you're better prepared. Having said all that, let's start the show. So we got one of our first questions that's come in. Diku Noor asks, how is the Child Status Protection Act calculated, or CISPA, once you become your citizen after filing as a green card holder? Well, that's a troublesome kind of thing to do. In general, the Child Status Protection Act, one of the aspects of it is able to say the child's age if they go over 21. So if a child is part of a case and they go over the age of 21, they're no longer part of that case because they aged out. But under the Child Status Protection Act, for many types of cases, you can subtract the time that it took for adjudication of an I-130 or I-140 petition, for example, employment-based petition, or I-1 family, I-130, from the age. If it goes under 21, it works. Now, there's a nuance here where you're saying you became a citizen after filing a green card. Now, if there's, and I don't have to top of my head exactly how it works, but if you are a child that's being petitioned for by a green card holder, and then the green card holder becomes a citizen, it may destroy the Child Status Protection Act they aged out of how it works. For example, if it's a F2A category, minor child of a green card holder, then you become a citizen, it could potentially, being a citizen could destroy it potentially. So it's one of those things where I would need to learn all the facts of what happened, the timelines, what kind of green card in the family case it is that it was here, to see how it affects it based on that category. So this one goes a little more complex. It's something that definitely went on to talk in private about. It's not as open and shut. Generally, you subtract the age, but we got to make sure the case didn't get destroyed by becoming a citizen. That's something you have to be mindful for. Unfortunately, the way these laws are created, they're there to help you, as intended to help, but it hurts in other ways if you don't do it wrong, and it's very confusing on how it works. You think becoming a citizen would help, but there are some scenarios where it actually hurts the case and resets the case. Hopefully, that's not the situation here, but I'd have to get more information back and forth to answer that. But thank you for the question, though. We have a question, Prunell, and then I'll first go to Instagram. Prunell asks, good afternoon, John. I had an interview since December 21st, 2021. I'm still waiting for an answer. Please tell me what I can do. Well, was it with USCIS or was it with the embassy? And what kind of interview? Was it an asylum interview? Was it a family interview? So, you could always contact them, see what's going on, check on your case, ask a congressional representative or senator to help you out to figure out what's going on. I need to know much more information and potentially even file a lawsuit against the government for delay. We got to know a lot more information. Unfortunately, that was some overview of some stuff is possible in many cases, but I don't know what happened in your particular case. I'm going to take the next question on Instagram. Danzwad asks, how long currently is work authorization taking with the marriage-based green card change of status? So it's adjustment of status when you apply for a green card. Along with that, you can file for a work permit called a C9 employment authorization document. It's taking between 1 month to 1 year. That's it. Sometimes we're getting it for a month, sometimes after a year we're getting it. So that's the general answer to that one. And Amram asks, so I'm sure once I-130 is approved, do we need to go for an interview? Does the agency approve both I-140 and I-485 at the same time? No, they do sometimes approve the I-130 with the I-4 at the same time. Sometimes they don't. Recently, they've been waiving interviews in a lot of cases, And so they approve the I-130, and then they ask you to send a medical checkup, for example, or some additional documents. Once they get that, they approve the I-485. So that's possible too. Both variations work. Mal asks, hey, you missed my question. I don't want to keep repeating it. I didn't see your question, Mal. You've been asking me on a private channel for a lot of individual legal guidance. I can't advise you on that. If you have general stuff here, let me know, or else you got to schedule a private consultation. But thanks for joining again. Okay, so let's go to some other questions that help me out. Eduardo asks, can you explain what happens to an approved 601A when a qualifying relative passes away? Well, that's not a good situation. I'm not an expert on waivers. I don't handle myself. We have an associate that handles those. But a 601A waiver is when you have certain issues that prevent you from getting a green card, you can ask for forgiveness from those in the waiver. In particular, 601A is for the 3 or 10-year bar. When someone has a, just leave it, that's a 3 or 10-year bar to we have to leave the U.S. and wait outside for 3 or 10 years before they come back in. You can waive that while you're in the United States with the 601A waiver. If the qualifying relative passes away, that's a big issue because then you don't have that anymore. There may be exceptions to this, how they deal with that. I haven't had this scenario happen to me, so I don't have a direct answer I can give you right now. That's it. Unfortunately, Eduardo, is something to look into and see what kind of relative it was and who was it there, if there's some other qualification that could be. But I don't know off the top of my head how if there's an exception for that. I do want to remind viewers that avoid asking the same question over again. We'll have to unfortunately take you out of the questions out of the room if that happens, because it's very confusing to try to keep track of everything that's popping up. So if you do ask a question multiple times, we'll have to take you out, but hopefully that won't continue. All right, next question is from Matt Black. Says, can I-751 10-year green card get approved after no longer a spouse? Yes, you can. It's called a waiver-based I-751, but you do need to do a lot of paperwork and prep for it to make sure it's good. But it's possible to, if you got a green card based on marriage and you have to file a removal of conditions to refile some extra paperwork to show the relationship is real. If you're not together anymore, yeah, there's a waiver for it. Quick questions on Instagram. Jimbo asks, hey, John, your videos are so helpful. Thank you. A question on the SB1 visa interviews, if you don't mind. You don't have to ask questions. Just let me know. But that's that. Mala asks, do I need to prove he was here 10 years after citizenship, or can I include the years before he came? So I don't know, Mala. You're just jumping into a middle of a question right here. Please schedule a private consultation. I'm not sure what's going on there. Next question on the other apps. User 9 says, what's the I-864 form? Well, the I-864 is the affidavit of support. When you're doing family-based immigration, green card cases, and some exceptions when it comes to employment-based cases, you have to show that there's a sponsor in the United States that can support you if needed, so that you overcome the public charge, the worry that you're going to come to the United States and not be able to support yourself. Typically, the petitioning family member has to submit an I-864 affidavit of support, but if they don't have enough money or income, you get joint sponsors as well. Typically, you show income based on salary and W-2s and tax returns. Sometimes use assets, and it gets more complex like that. But it's a mandatory requirement for those filing family-based cases. Again, there's other exceptions where you don't need to use this if the foreign national has worked for 40 consecutive quarters in the United States. I don't know if it's consecutive, 40 quarters in the United States. It shows they've been legally working, making money. There's just these minor exceptions that don't affect very few people, but they exist. But in general, that's what the I-864 application for affidavit of support form's all about. There's a lot more to it. It's probably the most complex part when people file their own green card cases. Normally, the problems they have come from the I-864 form. It's unnecessarily complicated, long form, and badly designed. So we see that problem happen a lot. But that's an overview of that. King Cami asks, my husband is on disability. Can he file for adjustment of status for me? Disability itself doesn't have any bearing on filing for adjustment of status. There's an affidavit of support requirement we just talked about that'll need to be filled. And if he's not working or doesn't have income, you might need a joint sponsor. But disability itself is not a reason not to file for adjustment status. I'll go to some Instagram questions really quick. Jimbo asks, I've been out of the U.S. for 5 years for medical reasons. I will be providing my medical documentation for USCIS. I'd like to know if they will ask for more info documents after the interview. First of all, if you're doing SC1, you're doing it with the embassy, not USCIS. And it's whether they ask for more interview, that's up to them if they want to ask it. There's more going on here. I recommend scheduling a private consultation with a couple of attorneys that have different opinions on this, but they may or may not. that's it. I mean, it's not that's it going to. Um, and then Mala says, I don't know how's it not coming up for you that I'm asking a question. That's weird. Yes, I just saw your last question saying you asked a question. I haven't seen the rest, but that's that. Sorry, Mala. Let's go back some more questions on the Donna says I submitted an I-130 and got an RFE for an I-130. Am I supposed to file for both? Yes. When you file for a marriage-based green card, you submit form I-130 as well as the form I-130A for the foreign spouse. You're lucky to deny the case of just an RFE that needs to be submitted. Check out the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It talks about it all there and says that stuff that needs to go in there. Sarge asks, does the DREAM Act 2023 include TPS2? There's no law. So unless something is a law, whether it includes stuff, they do this every year. They introduce kind of stuff, they change it. So that's that. 29 Super C says, good night, Attorney Kostrabi. Hope you and your staff are doing well. Just saying hi. Good to see you, 29 Super C. I really appreciate it. I hope you're doing well and your life in the U.S. is going well. Prunell follows up, says you sent asylum interview. Asylum interviews, after asylum interview, things can get backed up a lot. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes doing investigations. I'm not sure how much can help. If you want to file a lawsuit, that might be something to do, but sometimes you need to wait. It's hard to say. Akeem says, I'm a 10-year green card holder. Can I invite my mom and brother to visit the United States? No one invites someone to come to the United States to visit. Anyone who wants to visit the United States applies for a tourist visa on their own and submits, Form DS-160 and does an interview, which will be really hard to get because they're backed up. Your name is Akeem. I'm guessing you're from West Africa, maybe Nigeria. Good luck getting an interview because there are no interviews available. But if they're able to do that, then they can give it a shot. But it's not about your invite. It doesn't matter if you're here or not. If you're a green card or citizen, they apply for their own visas. Eduardo says, thank you, you're welcome. Kanga says, can somebody get a green card through the lottery while the sound case is pending? This is a very troublesome, complicated issue. Generally, no, unless you've maintained an underlying status. So let's say you came on a student visa and you filed for asylum, but you kept your student visa, yeah, you can. But if you stop going and your student visa got invalidated, then whether you can get the green card while in the United States through adjustment of status, most of the time you can't. It's going to depend on the office you're dealing with right now. They don't have consistent rules, so most of the time you can't. You may be able to do consular processing, leave the U.S., and do an embassy interview, but there's risks to that too. So that's the general gist of what's going on in that particular fact pattern. Jenny says, I've been married 7 years. My husband lives in Morocco. My case was denied and closed. What recommend? I don't know. You get to see schedule a consultation in private so you could see what's going on with your case and what happened and why it was the case. I do want to list our winner, King Kami, who was on TikTok. You're a winner of a free lottery. Sorry, I should have said a couple minutes ago. But if you like to have a private video consultation, you want our lottery, just take a screenshot of where you're watching this and email it to me at info@jqklaw.com so I can see your username, and that is you. We schedule a private chat. I'll send you information on that. For those just tuning in, we give away free video consultations. All you got to do is like and subscribe. Either write a good question, write consultation at the end, or just write consultation just once, no repeats. And we'll randomly pick somebody in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, have a free private video consultation for 15 minutes. Bugs asks, hi, petitioner, not a U.S. citizen yet. Any guidance regarding preparing for I-130 petition for a parent residing in a non-native state? Oz, any additional requirements, standard I-130 consult? Okay, so yeah, just get all the I-130 paperwork ready. Birth certificates, marriage certificates if needed, and then just wait to get the naturalization certificate and file the case. That's general kind of stuff. But thanks, Bugs. We'll put you in the running for a consultation. King says, is it better to appeal a citizenship denial or reapply? Well, it depends on what the denial was for. It's some stuff, yes, sometimes no. Sometimes we don't do either. We just contact the office and say, listen, what you did was ridiculous decision. Please fix it. I've had it where they made mistakes and we didn't do either. I'm like, my client's not going to pay for an appeal or wait forever to reapply. You guys made the error, fix it, and they fixed it. Users36 says, are same gender marriages accepted for spouse sponsorship? For spouse sponsorship, U.S. doesn't have any problems with same-sex couples, so all that works. Dan says, DACA pending EB3 consular interview. Can I travel with the proof of advanced parole? I can't tell you what you can do because it's an individual case, but generally a person can travel with advanced parole, and that might be the way to do it to get that interview done. But I don't know your paperwork, and I can't advise to know you, but it may be a wise thing to do, maybe. Kukabu says, I'm a citizen. Can I bring my brother from the UK? He's been there for 1.5 years. You can apply, but it's going to take like 15, 20 years for your brother to be able to get a green card through you. So through our family case, that's as much as you can do. It's going to take forever. How do I get my ex-husband deported for marriage fraud? I don't have any advice on that. I've never done that before. Tide asks, my mom was denied a visa for misrepresentation. What can I do to apply for her again? Whew, it's not good. So it depends on what kind of visa you're asking for. If she's going to get a tourist visa or non-immigrant visa, you can apply for what's called a 212D3 waiver. It's going to take forever. That's a temporary waiver to give permission to visit. If it's a green card case, you got to get a waiver of misrepresentation. I'm not sure if a qualifying relative can be a parent. Probably can. Essentially, you got to do a lot of work. That's going to be maybe it'll work, or maybe it won't. If hopefully there was no misrepresentation, so you could fix that up because that might avoid it. We're getting a bunch of questions on TikTok, just popping up a lot. Today's a Talk TikTok day. We'll get to all in a second. One last question. I was from YouTube. Weiss says, "What are the requirements to file your parents after getting American citizenship?" Well, it's the same as other parts. You got to file an I-130 petition, and this is. Just say your relatives for each parent, and then if they're in the United States, adjustment of status. If they're consular processing through embassy, if there's other issues like here, we just had someone ask that the parent got misrepresentation, then you need to apply for a waiver. So the general requirement is I-130, then deal with adjustment of status or consular processing. But if there's other issues, it gets pretty crazy. I have a question on Instagram. Mala said, I need to prove a father is a citizen to make me a citizen. Does he need to be here 10 years, including before citizenship, or strictly 10 years after? It's 5 years, not 10 years, 3 of which have to be, 2 or 3 of which have to be after the age of 14. And they don't have, just as long as they're in the United States physically, there's no requirement that they have status at that time. UCAS, please advise me, should I file online or paper for EAD renewal? It's up to you. There's no advice on that, just whatever you want to do. User 179 says, how can I bypass the J1 visa waiver as a physician? I'm married to a U.S. citizen. Now, unfortunately, it's tough. You need to have, let's see, I'm really quick. There's the J1 has this 2-year home residency requirement. And I think that's what you were talking about, the weight of the residency requirement, which is if you're coming here on the J1 as a cultural exchange, educational exchange kind of visa, you got to go back to your home country for 2 years and be there before you can get a green card or something like that. And to waive it, yeah, typically has to be something like almost a mild asylum claim of fear to come back. A lot of doctors, what they do is they work in rural areas and they get rid of it through that rural area aspect. That it's harder for doctors to do it, physicians, because they lessen the types of waivers you can get. It's a complex process, unfortunately. It's a nightmare. But so you got to deal with the waivers, no bypassing it, but you got to find some sort of exception for it. ZRG asks, I won a green card lottery, but I didn't mention my spouse and kids. I have 2 kids under 5, and now I'm in the USA. How can I bring them to the USA? Well, the problem is you did visa fraud right there, because on the green card lottery, if you don't specify all the family members properly as it's supposed to, and you don't tell them, then that's they're going to undo the green card. They find out about it. So how can you say I don't have any advice on that? Because once you apply for them, they're going to be like, wait, you never told us about this in the green card lottery. And they can take your green card lottery-based green card away from you. So unfortunately, it's a bad situation. I don't really have a good answer for that. Nepali says, can a police department staff expedite Form I-130 or I-13? No. I mean, I don't know what the police department has to do with the immigration department, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Rizzo says, is there any time phase to apply for adjustment of status? You're already married here in the United States. Is there any time phase to apply for AS? Well, it depends on your case. If you're married, I'm not sure what you mean a time phase, but this, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That'll probably explain it, but we got to go into this one to be able to answer that. You know what, you'll be our second winner of our free video consultation. So if you like, just take a screenshot of where you're watching this. So I could, your username will come up, and email it to me at info@jqklaw.com. That's info@jqklaw.com. And what we'll do is we'll schedule a free private consultation real quick to see what's going on in your case and take it from there, and to figure it all out. Not all of it, but at least to figure out what's going on with your question specifics. That's the best way to do it. For those just tuning in, we give away a free video consultation. Got one more to give away tonight, three a night, every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. All you got to do is like, subscribe, and just ask a question, write consultation at the bit, or just write consultation once, not repeating it. And we give away free video consultations, so you could ask questions in private. We get more into your case then. U.S. Seattle 206 says income requirement, is it gross income or net income? Well, they look at the total income listed on your. They look at the total income listed or just the gross income, depending on what kind of tax return file you have as the key basic. But typically, we do gross incomes based on your pay stub if you're using that. So, but we got to look at how the whole thing looks together. I don't want to be on the line exactly, but at least on Form I-864, when it comes to your taxes, it asks for total income. But if you're using Form I-140 Easy, I think it's adjusted gross income, something like that. So the form listed right there. I'd go by gross, but I'm not 100%. I want to look at the numbers and see how close they are or not. Fire asks, my mom has a green card and is 74 years old. Does she need the test for passport? Well, it says for citizenship. Once you're citizen, you apply for passport. And whether she needs to do the full test, the partial test, or all this kind of stuff depends on how long she's had a green card, not just her age. There's a two-part formula you have to go through. If you look at Form N400, it'll list it there. Depending on how long you've had a green card and how old you are, there's different requirements for it. User 678 says, is the travel and advanced parole risky for my husband? I applied for his I-130 marriage green card. I don't know what your definition of risky is. It's up to you how important it is to travel and on his background. For example, if he's had arrest history, yeah, he's too risky. If he hasn't, there is a risk. Now, risky for some might be 1% risk, and then by other people, 1% is too much and they freak out. So that's a subjective term. I can't tell you. Unless it's something really important, just stay here. You're almost done. Why wait? Unless it's really urgent or something like that. Reconnecting, lost connection. Okay, everybody, we're back. Sorry about that. The internet went down for a quick second, but I'm coming back. So, can you apply for a green card P1? It doesn't matter if you're a P1. It's the same as if you came on some other visas. If you can apply for green cards based on whether you have the ability to apply for a green card. So, are you married to a citizen? Are you a person of extraordinary ability? Are you investing money EB-5? So it depends on your background. So whether you can apply for a green card, maybe. But there's just that's the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more information I need to know to be able to answer that question. Rizal says, can you say the email again? Thank you. Sure. The email is info@jqklaw.com. Info as in information, INFO. The @ symbol, my initial J like Jack, Q like Queen, K like King, the word law.com. Info@jqklaw.com. Or just go to website, jqklaw.com. My email will be there. Natalie asks, can USCIS deny your case for being in renewal proceedings even though you're documentarily qualified? So there's some issues there. If you're documentarily qualified, that what you mean is you're with the National Visa Center with the consular processing situation. But if you're removal proceedings, USCIS can't approve your case if you have an active case. So you need to terminate that case first. There's a lot of issues going on, Natalie. This is something you have to have an immigration attorney on. There's no reason not to have an immigration attorney on this case. Joey asks, I'm a green card holder for 3 years. Can I apply for citizenship? Well, Joy, I have a detailed video that talks about the timelines for applying for a green card or for citizenship. If you're not married to a U.S. citizen, which is 5 years, if you've been married and living with a U.S. citizen, the spouse, then you could do it in 3 years. If not, go check out the video. Just type in jqklaw and U.S. citizenship time, and it's a 20-minute video explaining the timelines for this. Turthump, one of our regulars, I haven't seen your name pop in a while, asks, an I-130 approval, marriage based outside the U.S., when can we do the affidavit of support? When the National Visa Center contacts you to start the case, then you can do the affidavit of support along with civil documents and stuff like that. User 67 says, we want to get married in our country of origin, which is why he wants to travel on advance parole. Well, you already are married. I'm guessing you want to have a wedding celebration. Is that what you want to do? Not worth it, frankly. Just stay here and get the green card and then have the marriage ceremony. You should be married already officially in the U.S. So I'm guessing, again, you mean a wedding party. Tell the family it's just not worth it. Now, if you want to do it, but I don't recommend it. Lejeski says, with a congressional green card, with a conditional green card, if I get divorced, what happens? We talked about this earlier in the show. You need to still deal with getting a full 10-year green card, but what you have to do is do a waiver-based I-751, which is a little more work, a little more stuff you got to watch out for, a little more preparation. That is doable to keep the green card. I just did a TikTok short video on this, but it's possible. You got to get a waiver I-751. We get this approved a lot. Check out our Instagram page. I post approval notices. But it's a little bit extra work to just make sure it happens right. But you get the timing is really important. So you really need to talk with a good lawyer as soon as possible to plan it out. That's something to be mindful for. And we got a couple more question time. AFG asks, I have a green card. I'm married. My wife's in another country. Can I bring my wife with my green card? You can. It's just going to take a long time. It's going to take like 3 to 5 years at least. So a green card holder can apply for a spouse. It just takes a while. I do want to announce our winner, Ilija Janaveski 23. Thank you for posting. Let's have a free private chat on the divorce and conditional green card. Just take a screenshot of where you're watching this so I can see your YouTube username there, Ilija Janaveski. And what we'll do is email that. We'll schedule a time to talk, and we'll take from there, give you some advice on what needs to happen when you have your situation. Just again, email me info@jqklaw.com. For those just tuning in, we give away free video consultations. We give away our third one, I think it is. And so we're done for today, but next week we'll have some more. We'll take a couple more questions and we'll call it a day. Next question, Nature King asks, I just sent my response to an RFP last week. EAD already approved. When can I expect my green card approval? There's nothing to expect, no expectation. Just wait. I don't even know if it's going to get approved. They did a good RFP response, but generally just got to wait. Kelly said, hi, do you help correct status? I mean, we'll have to see. I need to know more about your case first. And if it's something that I could help with, yeah. But we have to have a consultation first, see what's going on with your case. Samara says, hey, I got my green card through asylum due to Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Can I go visit Palestine? So I'm not sure what you mean, Israeli-Palestinian conflict. What side or what's going on? I'm guessing you're Palestinian. Were you against Palestine? If you're afraid to go to your home country, that's what he said. It's not a good idea to visit it or use the passport of that country. I'm just going to leave it as that. And if you want to do what you want to do, what you want to do. But that's the safest thing. Salma says, I'm on a visitor visa here. I want to marry my boyfriend. Well, that's a good start. Go download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card at Salma at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Most of the answers will be in there. Marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card guide. And then schedule a private chat and we can talk about it. We focus primarily on these cases just like yours. We get approved every month. So something to definitely talk about. But thanks for coming and finding the podcast or the video and talking. Munchie asked, why the waiver taking more than a year when it used to be 6 months? Yeah, that's just the way it is. I wish it was more than years, like saying 2 or 3 months, 2 or 3 years. Why? It's just the government just doesn't have priority on this. That's what it is. So every day is taking longer. I get clients frustrated with me sometimes. And if you go to our Instagram page for JK Law Firm, just type JK Law Firm. I've had images we made of the government timelines, and they just show things getting out of control. So like 3 years ago, for example, an I-129F, a fiance petition, was taking 4.5 months. Now it's taking 13.5 months. And so we had cases we started, and I told the person to get it done 8 months, and then still not approved after a year and a year and a month. And they're frustrated with me. And I'm like, I didn't know the government was going to slow down, not take care of things. The government said by this September, we're going to get all these cases done in 6 months. So, most of these kind of cases in 6 months. But right now it's May starting, and May is about the 5th month. September is the 9th month. 4 months from now, it doesn't meet that goal. So, why? I don't have an answer for that. Christus asks, can status be corrected if you're on deportation? It's 17 years of check-ins. Can it be? Maybe. Can it be for you? I don't know. It's something you have to analyze your facts and see if there's some argument to be made in your benefit. But these are really open-ended questions. Anything's possible. But whether it can apply for you, I don't know. Hart says it's a way to get a green card for getting caught with U.S. passport. Is there a way to get a green card after getting caught with U.S. passport in the United States? Almost impossible, maybe if you have an asylum claim, but if you falsely claim to be a U.S. citizen by using a U.S. passport in the United States, it's usually the kiss of death, unfortunately. There's not much you can do. It's a hardcore crime in immigration world, the way they look at it. I don't know if it's a crime or not, but when it comes to immigration, it's really bad. So I don't know if it's going to be possible to do something with that. With that unfortunate note, thank you everyone for joining. We're going to call it a day. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. If you want to have a private video consultation, email me at info@jqklaw.com and briefly describe your case. We know what kind of situation it is. We don't handle every type of case, so it's not something we handle. I can let you know. But that's it. We'll see you next week at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Like always, to take your question, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at TikTok, JK Law. TikTok's actually is called the Immigration Lawyer John, our page, but on Instagram, JK Law Firm, and YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the same. Just type in JK Law John, Khosravi, and we'll get it there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ahmed. God bless. Be safe. I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.